people. Today's set is called Here Comes Fall because here it comes. I'm using a medium length stiletto or almond, depending on what you want to call them. And we're going to start off with this Beetles brown. I do have a bit of a smorgasbord of polishes and whatnot again. Okay, 2 of these we're going to have the solid brown. And 2 of them are going to be ombre. Almost did the wrong one on that one. Okay, then we're also going to be using Modelones nude. Okay, dope. Got an ombre brush. This is my wispy one. I have some firmer ones, but I like this one for doing this. This was a super cheapo one that came in a set of brushes I got off Alley. And frankly, I like this one a lot better than the ombre brushes, the more expensive ones that I have. Okay, and we're just going to... Well, of course you can't see now. We're just going to flick it back and forth across there. I've left this one in real time so you could see exactly how it goes. For those that might be new into nail art. Those of you that have been with me for a good while have seen me do this a gazillion times. Now when you start building up too much polish on your brush, you just wipe it off. I had a little lint-free wipe that was full of alcohol laying next to me that I was just wiping it on as I went. Now this being the first coat, you don't have to make the ombre perfect. Just get it there. That one needed a bit more polish. I didn't leave myself enough to blend with. Essentially, you're blending the 2 colors together and getting a 3rd color in the middle of the 2. Now, there's a whole bunch of ways to do ombres. This is the way that I do it on this kind of a deal. Okay, we're going to cure those now. And they're back out for coat number 2. Okay, and the tips. Now on the second coat, I did not put my brown quite as far up on those ombre ones as I did the first time because I wanted it to just be at the tip and not most of the way up the nail. Okay, and the top. And I also put a little bit more of this nude so I could have a little bit more to blend with. Okay, and this is a cat eye, a brown cat eye that I have that I had bought a few years ago when cat eyes started getting popular and I wanted to see, and I was just trying them out. This was like a sample thing. Okay, and there we go. We have our brownish orange. Now, I hit that too many times with the magnet and I lost my fizz, I guess that's what I like to call it. So I'm just going to brush it down again, and then we're going to go around it again till we're happy with what we have. Now this is where I went wrong, okay? I did that first and I let it sit there. Now as I was doing the ombres, this is second coat of the ombres obviously. This has been sped up. Now this is not in real time. We're just going to do the same thing that we just did. Except for this time we want to get it how exactly we want it to look. So, okay, now being that cat eye is sitting there the whole time I'm doing this ombre, what happened was all the little particles that I had at the top making that shiny fizz kind of stuff, they all sunk down to the bottom. So you'll see when I get this ombre done and I go to put them in for curing, I'm going to have to brush down the cat eye nail again and then bring all the crystals back, or the whatever they are in there, glitter bits or whatever, I'm going to have to bring those back to the surface. So, lesson learned, when you get your cat eye looking the way you want it, immediately put it into cure. Don't let it sit around because you'll lose your design or whatever you had going. See, I got to get them back now. Okay, once I'm happy with it, then that whole rack is going to go into cure. I think I overdid it again, so now we're brushing it down again. And I'm going to get it back here. That might have been the second coat, I'm not sure. Or I think that was me just brushing it back down. I don't know, I've lost track now. Okay, that's going to be ready to cure, which I've done, and now we're back out. Okay, we've got 2 coats on everything. Now I'm going in here with a base coat over this, and I'm going to now do a glitter fade with this brown glitter that I don't think I've ever used. We're just going to use the fan brush, and we're going to get a little bit of it on here. We're going to get it kind of thick at the top, and then we're just going to fade it down a little bit as we go. I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to pull some of those particles down, or some of those glitters. Just very, very light touch on the brush, very gently, because I don't want a whole lot of glitter. I just wanted a little bit of a fade on the top of this one. This being the thumbnail. Okay. I'm just trying to push some of those glitter bits down so they're not so many sticking up, creating a rough area. Okay, that's all we're going to do on that one. Then also on the ombre ones, I'm going to do just the tip on both of these. Now if you start to accumulate too much glitter on your fan brush, just give it a wipe off. That will happen because you're picking up part of that base coat as you're putting glitter on, and now your brush is getting all clogged up and yucky. Okay, this is the middle finger, that's the cat eye. I'm going to do just a little skosh of this at the top. I don't want to do too much because I want to cover the cat eye up. I want that to show. And the other ombre one. And those are ready to cure, and in they're going to go. Okay, moving on to the sticker decal portion. I used these last year. These came from Alley, that's the brand. And these are decals, the other ones are stickers. And then we have these that are just little cutouts that we've got to glue on. Okay, I'm going to give these a wipe down with some alcohol to clean off the tacky layer before we put the stickers on, because otherwise they're not going to stick very well. They'll slide around. Now on the decals, you don't have to clean the tacky layer. They stick to it just fine, no problem. Your stickers, some will stick, some won't. So just to be on the safe side, it's better just clean the tacky layer off if you're using stickers. Okay, now I was going to do that, but that darker butterfly is not going to show up on this darker brown, so that's why I'm using one of these guys. Now this one, okay, I'm just going to put some base coat right where I want it to be. Now normally I can do this, cure it with my lamp, my little flashlight, and it stays on there and it's cured. For some reason, this time it did not want to cure all the way, and I don't know why. I don't know if my flashlight's getting weak or what the deal is, but you're going to see it did not cure. One of the wings was still slightly sticking up, so I put some more underneath. And I went to do it again as soon as I get it where I want it. Now also, when you use these flashlights, if you press on it too hard, it will slide around and it'll move from where you had it. Plus you're going to get a ridge line along the edge of where the base coat is going to like build up, where it squishes up, which I don't like either. So you're going to see I went to check it, and look, not cured at all. It came right off. So we stick it back on. Now we're going to go with an old school method. Before they had those flashlights, we're going to get a piece of saran wrap. We're going to stretch it tightly over this nail. I'm going to hold it like that, and then I'm going to put this in the lamp while I'm holding it, and I'm going to cure that. Okay, now I've done that, and we're going to take off the saran wrap. Of course, it's going to come off the nail stand, but okay, we've got it off of there, and as you can see, it's perfectly flat now, and it is all cured on there. Okay, so I'm guessing from now on, I'm just going to go back to the saran wrap method for doing those kind of things. Okay, moving on to the two ombre nails. We're going to put a design at the top, and now we're going to use these brown butterflies, and these are the decals. So these guys we're going to have to put on the stamper and get them some water on. Wait a few seconds for that to soak in and let it release from the backing paper. I'm going to blot the water off with my finger real quick, and then we're just going to stamp this guy on where we want him. Boop, there he is. Okay, and that one's on there quite nicely. Okay, easy peasy. Moving on to the next one. We're going to do the same thing. Now, I have sped this rest of this up with all of these things. I wish I could work at that kind of warp speed. Okay, the second butterfly. Now, these butterfly decals came from that giant pack of decals I got from Wish years ago now. For like a couple dollars, there was a huge stack of those little decal sheets. I don't even know how many. Okay, those are all good now. Everything's on that we wanted on there. So there's where we are. Next step is going to be going over these all with base coat. Now, this is the next day for me when I had to finish these the next day, so that's why they have no gloves now. I just had a little bit left to do on them, so I didn't want to waste a pair of gloves. But anyway, here we go. We're going to put a good layer of base coat on all of them, except for that one ring finger that's all nude. And then we're going to cure this. Okay, and now they're back out, and I'm going over these with a very hefty layer of my tempered top coat. This is going to seal in the decals, the stickers, and smooth out the glitter. And since this is such a hefty layer, we're going to hold these upside down for a little bit so it can run to the middle. And then when I'm done with that, we're going to cure those. Okay, now we got to do the old file and buff on these guys a little bit. See right there how that wingtip was just barely sticking up? So we're going to file that off just a skosh. Now I did end up filing a little bit of the edge of the wing, but it couldn't be helped. And around the edges, I'm going to go around the edges because I had some rough glitter sticking around the edge. And then I'm going to give it a final buff just to smooth it all out. Moving on to these guys, we're going to do the same thing. They were fairly smooth. They just needed a buff down there where the glitter part was. And around the edges, just to make sure there's no rough pieces of glitter hanging through there that are going to get caught on things. Well, nobody's going to wear these, but just for general principles, that's why you want to do that. You don't want any rough stuff getting caught on things. Like back in the day when we used to wear nylons and pantyhose, you guys that don't wear them anymore, if you would have had that rough glitter on the edges of your nails, you would have run your nylons real quick. Nowadays, you're just going to end up scratching yourself probably with them, or somebody else. So you want to try to keep them as smooth as possible. And I'm just going to give that a buff up there a little bit. And there we are. Now I'm going to wipe these down with some alcohol to get the dust off of there before we go in with our final top coat. And then we're ready to go over them with a normal layer of the temper top coat. You can't really see the cat eye one all that well on here, but in person it looks cool. Okay, we're going to cure those now. Back out for the embellishments. I've got those little brown roses that are pre-made, some caviar beads, some brown crystals, and these gold Aurum crystals. I call them crystals, but they're not crystal. They're metal of some sort. But anyway, I'm going to just buff off the center of this nail to get the shininess off. So when I put some glue on there, which I'm going to bust out here in a sec, there it is. I'm still trying to use that one up. So now I'm putting kind of a lot on here. Now these two roses, they wanted to slide around because this is a skinny nail. So there's not a lot of room to mess around. So I went ahead and I cured those to keep them still. So when I do the rest of this, they're not going to slide around and try to slide off the sides. Now I will have some issues with the caviar beads sliding around on me because they're hanging off the side of these. And it's, you know, it's got that steep slope on the side. So obviously stuff's going to want to slide down, especially if you get a whole lot of glue in there. Now we're going to go in with some of these brown crystals. Here I wanted to make sure I had two that were the same size because it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. And then we're going to go in with some of these little gold Aurum ones. This was me once again with the brown roses and the brown crystals. And when I first had those, and I was looking at them like, I'm never going to use those brown ones. They're ugly. And here we are. I've already used the brown crystals on other stuff. Now here we are using the rest of this brown stuff. In case you didn't figure it out, I don't really like brown either. But sometimes it's necessary. While you're watching me put the rest of these on here, after these I will go on with the caviar beads. But while you're watching me do that, next time I'll be doing my own nails again. And I was going to do a whole safari animal thing, but then it evolved. It's one of those sets that has evolved over the course of the last few days. After I had pulled everything for my next set, I have changed it up somewhat. It's not going to be all safari animals. It's now going to be tigers and tiger stripes. And before, I had pulled just orange polish and whatnot, but then as I was thinking about it later on, I decided to make the base orange on some of them be cat eye. Not the same brown cat eye I just used. I'm going to go in, well, you'll see next time, but hopefully it's going to come out nice. Okay, I'm going in now with these caviar beads. Now, in hindsight, what I should have done with these is put a drop of top coat on my palette and mix the caviar beads into the top coat and put them on, you know, with that after they had been coated with top coat, because that will keep them nicer in the long run. Since nobody's going to wear this set, doesn't totally matter, but if you're going to use caviar beads or any kind of metal pieces, little bits of stuff, you definitely want to top coat them because the finish will wear off. If you get a glimpse of the bees on my fingers, You'll see the gold wings that they had are now, the gold has worn off because I forgot to top coat them, and now they're all like dark and tarnishy looking. So that's what will happen to anything that's metal that you don't top coat. See, these guys near the side edges of this did not want to stay where I'm putting them. They kept wanting to slide down. So once I get everything where I want it, I'm going to have to keep fiddling with these guys to get them to stay where I need them. See, now that one's back down again. And if I turn this around, probably the ones on the other side are down too. So I did have to do a little bit of fiddling around with the caviar beads before they went in for their final cure. Look, there's one trying to escape down the side over there now. See, that's a matter of a lot of glue that's right there and the fact that it's right on the edge, so it wants to slide down that steep slope. And we're just going to get everything all lined up where we want it now. Make sure everything is where we want it to be. See these guys moving around on me again. And there goes that one again. Alright, let's quickly get in the lamp and cure it. And there we are, all done. Now I did go around the edge of that one I just did, around the edges of the nude part with the top coat again, to clean up my gluey mess. But they turned out okay. I'm not crazy about them, but I don't hate them either. Anyway, if you guys like them, please give me a like. I really appreciate it, and it helps me out. And I will be back next time with my own nails and some tigers for you. Okay, that's it for now. Bye-bye.